easier than you think. It's actually not just all about
You
mechanics.
need to be
You
using
need
these
to be using these
fundamental
fundamental
tips
tips if you want to win fights
consistently
consistently and dominate just like the pros.
Before we dive
Before
into
we
in-game
dive into
scenarios,
in-game
the first thing I
scenarios, the
want to
first thing I
cover
want
is
to
add-on
cover is
reviews.
add-on
A lot of
reviews.
people like
A
to
lot of
debate
people like
whether
to
or not
debate whether
setting
or
is
not
better on
settings
or
better
off,
on
but
or
it
off, but
honestly
it
all depends
honestly
on your
all depends on your
playstyle. The
playstyle.
biggest
The
problem with
biggest
having this
problem with
option
having
on
this
is it
option
makes it
on
really
is it makes it
difficult to
really
take
difficult
peaks
to take
efficiently.
peaks
When
efficiently.
taking peaks
When
like
taking
this one,
peaks
for
like this one,
example,
for
whenever you go
example,
to hide
whenever you go
behind
to
the
hide
wall when you
behind the
make this
wall when you
edit,
make this
you're
edit,
forced to
you're
look up
forced
into
to
the
look up
floor.
into the floor.
However, when add-on
However, when
reviews is
add-on
turned
reviews is
off, you
turned
can look
off, you
anywhere
can
you
look
please
anywhere you
without
please
accidentally
without
selecting
accidentally
tiles when
selecting
making
tiles when
moves.
making
The reason
moves.
why this
The
is
reason
so
why this is
important is
so
because you
important
should
is
always
because
make
you
sure
should
that
always
you
make
have
sure
your
that you
opponent
have
in
your
the line of
opponent in the
sight with
line
your
of sight with
crosshair.
your
When
crosshair.
looking up in
When
this
looking up
corner,
in
I
this
have no
corner, I
idea where
have
my
no idea
opponent
where my
is, which
opponent
means he
is,
could be
which means he
anywhere
could
in
be
this
anywhere
box,
in
or
this
he could
box, or
possibly
he could
have left it
possibly have
already.
left it
But when
already.
I'm able to
But when
look
I'm able
wherever
to
I
look
want,
wherever
I'm
I
able to
want,
see
I'm able to see
exactly where the
exactly
opponent
where the
is, and I'm
opponent
prepared
is,
to
and I'm
shoot them
prepared to
after I
shoot
make
them
the edit.
after I make the
I
edit.
understand
I
that a lot
understand
of you
that
want
a
to
lot
keep
of you want
add-on
to keep
reviews
add-on
turned on,
reviews turned
but I
on,
encourage
but
you
I
to
encourage
consider
you to
turning it
consider
off.
turning it
At the
off.
end of the
At
day,
the end of the
multiple
day,
pros use
multiple
both
pros
different
use both
settings, and
different
you can
settings,
still
and you
become
can
a
still
very good
become a
fighter
very good
regardless
fighter
of your
regardless of
voice.
your voice.
Okay, now that that's
Okay,
out
now
of
that
the way,
that's
the
out of the
first
way,
thing
the
that you need
first
to
thing that
learn
you
to
need to
start
learn
winning
to
more
start
fights
winning
is
more fights
peaks and
is
how to use
peaks and
them
how to use them
properly. The
properly.
two most
The
common
two
peaks
most
that
common
people like
peaks
to
that people
use
like
is
to
this one
use
right
is
here,
this one right
aka the
here,
peanut
aka
butter
the
edit,
peanut
and
butter
then
edit,
also the
and then
window
also the
peak.
window
Now
peak.
the biggest
Now, the
mistake when
biggest
a lot of
mistake when a
players
lot
use
of
these
players use
peaks
these
is they
peaks
make the
is they
edit
make the
whenever their
edit
body
whenever
is
their
still
body is still
exposed. The only
exposed.
time that
The
this
only
is
time that this is
acceptable is when you know
acceptable
for
is when you
sure
know
that
for
your
sure
opponent
that
is
your
not really
opponent is not
prepared to
really
shoot.
prepared to shoot.
However, 9 times
However,
out of
nine
10,
times
your
out of 10,
opponent is
your
going to be
opponent is
waiting
going to
for
be
you to
waiting
make
for
that
you to
edit
make
so
that
that they can
edit so
try to
that they
get a
can try
shot
to
off
get a
on you
shot off
before
on
you
you
can pull your
before you can
shotgun
pull your
out. So
shotgun
you need
out.
to make
So you
sure
need
that
to
your
make sure
body is
that your
completely
body is
covered
completely
before you
covered
confirm.
before you confirm.
That's exactly
That's
why these two
exactly why
peaks are
these
so
two peaks are so
popular, because you can
popular
get some
because you
nice
can get some
shots
nice
off without
shots
your
off
opponent
without your
even really
opponent
seeing
even
you.
really seeing you.
Just make sure that
Just make
whenever
sure
you're
that
using
whenever
these,
you're
you're
using
always
these,
taking
you're
a
always
right hand
taking a
peek.
right hand peek.
Next, you need to learn
Next,
how
you
to
need to learn
properly
how to
push a
properly
box.
push a
The last
box.
thing that
The
you want
last
to
thing that
do
you
is
want
push
to
a
do
wall
is
head
push a
on with
wall
your
head on with
pickaxe
your
because your
pickaxe
opponent
because
will
your
just
opponent
edit
will
the
just
wall
edit
and
the
pump you
wall
in
and
your
pump you
mouth.
in your mouth.
Instead, you should be
Instead,
trying
you
to
should be
push their
trying to
box
push their
from a right
box
hand
from a
peek
right
at
hand
a
peek at a
diagonal. If you
diagonal.
attack
If
from a
you attack from
diagonal
a
instead,
diagonal
you're in a really
instead, you're in
safe
a really
position to
safe
take
position to
walls,
take
and you have
walls,
lots
and you
of
have
good
lots
options
of
for
good
piece
options for
control.
piece
I
control.
find that the
I
best
find
way
that
to
the
take
best way
walls
to
from
take
this
walls from this
position is to do a
position is to
peanut
do a
butter
peanut
edit and
butter
shoot
edit
up
and
the
shoot
corner
up
of
the
their
corner
wall.
of their wall.
Another solid
Another
option is
solid
editing
option
the
is
wall like
editing the wall
this,
like
and then you can
this, and then you
pickaxe
can
it from the
pickaxe it
side
from
while
the
still
side
being
while still
protected.
being
Now,
protected.
if you
Now,
decide to
if you
attack
decide
from
to
the left
attack from the
side, you
left
need to be
side, you
super
need to be
careful
super
because the
careful
opponent
because
can
the opponent
almost
can
always
almost
see you from
always
this
see you
angle.
from this
I catch a
angle.
lot
I
of
catch a
people
lot of
doing that
people
whenever
doing
they're
that
trying to
whenever
fight
they're
me,
trying
so
to
just
fight me,
look
so
out for
just
that
look out
because
for
you
that
can almost
because you
always
can
take
almost always
advantage.
take advantage
The
of it.
next time that
The
you get
next
into
time
a
that you
fight,
get
just
into
try
a
to
fight,
remember
just
the
try to remember
concept
the
of the
concept of
diagonal
the
push because
diagonal
it'll
push
give you a
because
way
it'll
higher
give you a way
chances.
higher chances.
Also, whenever you're
Also,
attacking
whenever you're
someone's
attacking
box, try
someone's
your
box,
best to
try your
limit the
best to
options
limit the
that they
options
have.
that they have.
Specifically, what I mean by
Specifically, what
that
I
is
mean by that is
pre-piecing. For
pre-piecing.
example,
For
before you start
example, before you
attacking the
start
box on
attacking
this
the
side to
box on
take
this
their
side to
wall,
take
you
their
should
wall, you
pre-piece
should
on the other
pre-piece
side
on
as
the other
well.
side as
Whenever
well.
you give your
Whenever you
opponent
give
less
your opponent
options,
less
they become way more
options, they become way
predictable.
more
So if
predictable.
I know that
So
they're
if I
not
know
going to
that
come
they're
out
not
of
going to
either
come
of
out of
these
either
sides,
of
I'm
these
going to
sides,
wait
I'm
for them
gonna
to
wait
try
for
to
them to try
expand
to
their
expand
box,
their
and then I'm going
box,
to
and
jump
then
up
I'm gonna
top,
jump up
come
top,
over to the
come
other
over to
side,
the
and
other
then
side,
pre-piece
and then
them there.
pre-piece them
And
there.
if you're having
And if
trouble
you're having
taking the
trouble
wall,
taking
try to
the
swing
ball,
your
try to swing
pickaxe
your
on multiple
pickaxe on
different
multiple
builds of their
different builds
box.
of their
Almost
box.
every single
Almost
time
every
it's going
single
to
time it's
confuse
going to
them, and they're
confuse
not
them,
going to
and
be
they're not
sure
going to
which
be
wall
sure
you're going
which
to
wall you're
actually
going to
take,
actually
or if you're going to take their cone above.
Okay, next we're going
to talk about
pickaxe
baiting and edit baiting.
Now, I'm sure a lot of you already know what pickaxe baiting is. It's just whenever you swing your pickaxe, but you don't actually hit the wall, and you're trying to make the edit so that you can shoot them. However, edit baiting is best used whenever your opponent is waiting for you to make an edit so that they can pre-fire. So how this works is you make an edit with you standing in front of it, wide and open, so that your opponent thinks that they can shoot. Immediately after you make that edit, you need to reset it. You're going to wait for your opponent to shoot. Whenever they shoot, they're going to shoot your wall because you reset it already. It's going to break your wall, and then you're going to pre-fire them off of that, and then replace your wall. Dude, I promise you this works almost every single time. And I'll be honest, I fall for it too, even though I use it every time. However, there is a way to counter it, which you're going to want to learn, because people use this move all the time since it's so effective. And it's as simple as just placing your wall after you try to shoot them after they make that edit. Sometimes people try to do this, but they don't reset it quick enough, and you can actually get a shot off. Just make sure that you're holding your wall out so that you get that wall and they don't get their wall back. Since I'm already kind of on the topic of pre-fires, I want to talk about how important it is that you learn how to pre-fire effectively. The best way to get rid of SMG spammers, but it takes a lot of time to perfect the timing. So you're going to want to practice these using this map code on your screen. Eventually, you're going to start to realize exactly the moment that the wall's about to break, and you can pre-fire them to get some damage off. And if you find yourself on the other side of the situation and someone's trying to pre-fire you, then the best thing to do is get the wall down to 1 hit and then pickaxe it on the last swing so that they shoot their own wall, and then when it breaks, you take possession of that wall. Okay, now the last thing that I want to cover is what I call exit baiting. Before I explain how to exit bait, I understand that this is a lot of information to take in at once, and you're probably not going to remember half. So I suggest that you save this video so that you can come back to it while you play. Alright, so exit baiting is whenever you bait your opponent into thinking that you're about to leave your box, but instead you hold your position and make an edit to get shots off. This is kind of a ballsy play, but if you know that your opponent is super reactive and you can guarantee that they're going to fall for it, then it's one of the best plays that you can make. The best two variations of this move is baiting an exit from the floor and a cone above you, or baiting an exit from a wall on your side. If you choose to bait from above, then the best thing to do is place a stair and then edit
cone above you,
and then you can flip that stair backwards and then edit out the wall in front of you to get a shot off when they're not looking. If you want to bait from one of the walls beside you instead, then it's the same concept.
The reason why this works so well is because typically whenever you edit in a direction that's not facing the opponent almost always tends to think that you're going to make an exit from that point, and that's super easy to take advantage of when you're trying to trap somebody that's not even.
Now, if you're somebody who's trying to
improve your overall Fortnite skill, whether that be your builds, your mechanics, or your edits, then I highly suggest that you check out the multiple videos that I made teaching you guys exactly how you can improve on each of those.
So that's going to be it for this video, guys.
If you found this useful at all, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it.
If you'd like to